And we're back. um. Alright, so. Think about a lot of stuff, you know? I think about, man. So much stuff. Think about how depressed I am sometimes. No. Not that depressed. Let's see here. Think about Mercury. It's in retrograde. I'm amazing, also. Think about that. How amazing I am. I think about, think about life in general. Think about, oh no. Thought I was gonna get smashed by the motorcycle. That would have sucked. But, I didn't. And, I won't. Man, I just... I think about stuff and things and stuff. Well, lots of stuff. And I can basically put myself in a better mood by like talking to myself, I guess. I don't know. Because I don't know, you talk to a lot of people to try to get them in a better mood, so you can talk yourself down from like I know people have talked themselves down from panic attacks and a whole bunch of different other stuff like that. So why not be able to lift your spirits every once in a while by saying, you know what, self, by talking to yourself, you're doing a really good job, self, and god damn it. Oh man, just thinking about kind of stuff that I get into as far as wanting to be better at something, wanting to do better for myself. I have like I have lots of reasons why I want to be able to be I have lots of reasons why I want to be the kind of person that people would look up to, or maybe like because I used to be that person a lot. I used to be that person every day, and then I realized how much stress I was putting myself under, and I thought, was it worth it putting myself under that much stress so that someone else would try to go the same route? But that's the point, though, is if it puts me under that much stress, and why would I want someone going or trying to be that same way, you know? Like, why would I want someone to be that same way if I myself am too stressed out to do it? Why would I want to be able to go down that route, or to be able to go down that route at all, if why would I want to go down that route if it caused me so much undue stress that I myself couldn't perform at it for a specific amount of time, so that I could actually get a career out of it. Because I don't want to just perform at like 10 years, 20 years at something, and then stop, and then I want to be able to perform at a good level for about 30 to 40 years at something, to be able to do something critical, or be able to accomplish something critical for myself, and to be able to make I want to try to make myself look better, I guess. You know, I don't know, I guess I put so much stress on myself sometimes. Or maybe I'm thinking about somebody else's stress. Because not everyone was meant to do the same job, you know? Not everyone was meant to do the job they think they want sometimes isn't the job that they were meant to do all the time. Because I do have 10 years, 11 years maybe experience in customer service and a whole bunch of different other ways to do different things. It's just I never got the chance put on my shoulders while I was doing stuff that was to be able to do different things, because people thought that I was just flaky, or the fact that I was a jokester, or the fact that I could joke at all meant that I was not fit for a job, basically. God dang it. My motorcycle. There it is. I'm trying to come up with a better subject than that, though. The pressure we put on ourselves all the time can be, or the pressure we try to put on ourselves. Like, because I know that I have a specific situation, or I'm a specific case. I'm constantly thinking about what danger and things lie around each corner, I guess. But that's probably because I'm schizoaffective, and I think that I elaborate on that, and I make things up in my own mind sometimes. So there's kind of like a whole there's kind of like a damn it. There's kind of like a give and take situation to where I give myself too much undue stress by taking on a certain responsibility, and but I'm taking every situation into consideration. It's just, I think that the fact that other people don't have faith in me is more over the reasons why sometimes I underperform. Like, say, I hadn't had a job for 4 years, or 2 years, I guess, and instead of working with me, like I would work with them on a situation or a job or anything like that, I would say that I wanted to get a job, and instead of saying, well, all right, I'll take you around to get some stuff, some job applications, like I would work with them, like I know I would work with them. Instead of doing that, they decided that I was going to that I had to do it all on my own, basically. That there was no faith in anything. I was in relationships like that, like no support whatsoever. I guess, like just unwavering faultiness, basically. Just unwavering faultiness, basically. Like, oh, if you mess up this time, then blah 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 blah. That amount of pressure, I think, when you put someone that already puts pressure on themselves, and if you don't know that, then you don't know the person. So it's like, people always say, it's like, oh, I have this responsibility of being a man. It's like, no, you have a responsibility of being a regular person. A person who supports other people who they want to see make it. Or they want to see do something, if you really wanted to see that person make it, if you really wanted to see that person do something better for themselves, then you'd stay there for that person. You'd be there for that person, and you wouldn't just say, oh, okay, I'm going to be uneasy about it. It's like you treat everyone like they're already accomplished people. Like, some people don't really have that. Like, they don't perform well in high stress situations simply because of a certain aspect of it. Because of a certain aspect of a person that's there. Of the person that they think that person's going to mess up, or they think that because that person's overconfident, they believe that a situation might come that shows that person that they're not as confident as they think they were. And it's like in Mississippi, I felt as though that my own family and people who I knew were giving me flack and a whole bunch of shit and a whole bunch of stuff about things. So basically, I felt completely uncomfortable and outside of my element because of it. I wanted to get away from them desperately. I wanted to say that no, we can stop this, and to be like, I wanted to get away from them and let them know that I loved them, but also at the same time, shit. Alright, but I wanted to let them know at the same time that I love them, but also it was the same time that it's like when your family wants you so close, or when your family is used to you being so close or so near, there can be this undue stress of what should I do and how should I do it, or anticipation of needness, or an anticipation of being needed, and a part of me doesn't want it. A part of me thinks that sometimes, a part of me knows that if I do that stuff, then they'll do stuff for me later on, and the more patient I am with them, the more patient they'll be with me. But when there's people in your life that just cause you undue stress for months and months on end, instead of them saying that that they are there for you and they want to be around, they say, oh, that stuff is just hubbub and stuff like that. They're supposed to make you, their intention is to make you feel like, well, it's not that big of a deal, and you can and you will prevail because of the fact that it's not that big of a deal. That's their intention. But what it comes off as is, oh, I've had this many a times, and because I've had it, you should know it. It's like not through any of your own experience will you ever be able to be a part of a comfortable lifestyle through this experience, but the fact that this experience, that I'm saying this experience isn't that big of a deal, should make you calm down. And I mean, I know its intention is to try to calm you down, or make you breathe, or make you just think about something else. But I can't sit and think, well, okay, I've done that a lot, and the more you do it, the more you realize that it's more of the same, and the more you get old, it gets old, and you want someone to feel comfortable around you, to be able to make you feel like if you mess up, it's okay. And that's their intention. That's usually their intention. But and I'm not saying that I'm sensitive. I just want someone to be and know that I'm going through something heavy, I guess. And though it feels like it feels like there's this, it feels like there's this build up sometimes. That's how it feels. It's like that's what it feels like. It feels like there's this like weight on your chest, and it feels like that weight won't go away no matter what anyone else does. You have to be able to lift that weight by yourself, and there's nothing that anyone can say that can make you feel more comfortable about a certain situation until you see that situation through. I'm gonna do another front flip. Yeah, I'm gonna land on my face. Or not. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Yeah, fell. When you want to build on top of your own character, or think about what your own character is going through, or your through your life, how you feel when you're going through pressure or a situation where things might go awry. There comes a reflex, and through that reflex, I've found that there are lots and lots of titties. That's right, Brandon. That there are ways to be able to go through the symptoms of the life that you're building. There are ways to be able to go through the reflexes without actually experiencing. I knew it. There are ways to be able to go through the pressures of what you go through every day. And when those pressures get to you, or if those pressures ever try to get to you, realize what you're doing. Realize how you're doing it, and don't try to put undue stress on yourself, because I know I do all the time. Like, because I myself know that I have a responsibility to make. And I try to think about whatever things stress me out, or however they stress me out. What I build for myself, or whatever I... However I build it for myself, I want to be able to know that it's okay to be able to make mistakes sometimes.
Ooh, too close.
And I want to be able to build on the... I want to be able to build on the kind of life that I want for myself. And I don't want to do it at someone else's pace. I know that I'm going to be working for someone, I'm going to be doing things, I'm going to be training, and I'm going to be in the things that I really want to do, and with the stuff that I really want to be able to make. People don't put me at ease, though. And that's the most I get out of things. And that's the point, is no matter what, I won't be at ease. And that's just something that I'm gonna have to live with. Because it's a part of evolution, and it's a part of my life. And it's not depressing. It's just the way that things come about, and the way that things change constantly, or stay the same. That sounded like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I know I don't have to learn that much, but to know where I stand on certain things. But the fact is, I can gain experience through certain it's hard for me to talk sometimes because of I don't want to push myself to oh man, um, I think that that's what.
I'm going to pound you all kinds of ways.
That's what I believe about myself, though, is no matter what, it's like some people believe that the stress is always going to be there, so why stress about that? It's like the more you give in to what you fear the most, though, is I think as a person who's given into fear sometimes, the most I've given into as far as fear goes is fear and yeah, I guess fear.
I just need a ride.
Shut up. I think that giving into fear can Leslie, it's hot in here. I don't feel like it.
Shit, something don't feel too good. Shit.
All right. When you're into what you fear, or when you get into what you fear, or how you fear something, or how you're stressed out about something, let's say you want to know the base structure of something. You want to know the basis, the reason. And it's really important to know the reason why something's going wrong.
Sorry about that, sweet.
It's important to know the reason why something went wrong, or why something goes wrong, or the reason why people themselves put away a certain part of themselves. They hide it away, or build a wall, or or try to not to say a literal wall, a figurative wall is what I mean. I say what you don't really understand sometimes is that you can't own someone. No matter how much you have on paper or anything like that. No matter how much you build an empire or whatever empire you think you're building. Whatever kind of place you build is you have to know that there is a choice. And you have to invest in that choice. And that's the point. And that's the reason for fear, and most of it sometimes coming from or stemming from what I fear sometimes is the lack of choice. Because people who don't believe in choice or believe that choice is an instance or ever even a choice.
Man, fuck this shit.
Some really good guitar. It's like strumming bass. That's that bass. Yeah, good theme music for that car. Alright, that's what I think though. I think that that's the reason why. Is that people themselves, they're afraid of the choice of believing in something other than a possibility. They're afraid of the choice of saying, they're not afraid of their own authority because they don't believe in their own authority, because they don't believe in choice. Because if they had a choice, then they'd have authority. I think that's what it is. Because they don't believe in what they assumed, because they believed in it once before and it got them in trouble. And they don't believe that trouble is worth, or that choice is worth the trouble. I think that's the reason why some people get scorned sometimes. And the reason why I think there's a big difference between people who make a choice and get a result, or a good result, and there's a people who made that same choice and realized that there was work they needed to do. Because making that choice should, in every case, in every single case, making a positive choice for your work schedule, or a positive choice for your research, or what you want to do, or how you want to do it. A positive choice for a and I don't have to have like piercings, I guess, to do it, because I've thought about it, and I went to the mental hospital afterwards, and I wound up getting them taken out. But I don't have to have those. in order to be able to be rebellious, or say that I mean something, or say that I mean something true, or anything like that. I don't have to have those in order to be able to. I've tried to, but then I realized what I looked like. I looked like a pincushion. My mom told me, at least. And I think that's the reason why they get them, is because it's a bit sadomasochist, or masochistic. Not sadomasochist. Sadomasochist is like sadistic. It's a bit masochistic, but also too, I'd probably get my ears pierced. Because it's a fashion statement and it's cool looking. I'm not gonna get the gauges or anything like that, but I'm probably gonna get my ears pierced because they're big enough to be pierced and they're too big to not get them pierced. Oh, god dang it. And why would I want to call attention to those big old things? Because I can. And that's what I can do. I could do that if I want. I'd say we build on whatever choice we make, on however we make choices. And when we make those choices, yeah, I fucked up and I need to get another motorcycle.
Oh, that hurt.
I think that's it. That's it right there. That's it. When we choose to make a choice because of what we like and how we like to do things. Some people like to collect things because they like the way that things look or the way that things are, maybe in their room or anything like that. People who like to do things like not even within a sadomasochist or anything like that. Just people who like to pierce. It's like collecting. It's like I like this one thing and shiny stuff on me looks cool because that's what I like. It's not exactly masochistic. It's more the fact is it's not the pain that got it there. It's the thing that is there now because of what you did or because of what someone else did to do that for you. And also building on that, or at least saying you want to build on that, or building on that that inference, that collective nature. Sometimes collective, as in I'm saying collective, not as in a collective, but collection. That collectiony nature. It also gives you bigger ideas on what to collect next. It also gives you better ideas on what to do with the things that that you want to do. I'm at 39 minutes. It's gonna be cool. But yeah, making sure that you feel comfortable in a place where making sure you feel comfortable in a place where you're around people that you like.
Can't you hear me coming?
That in itself is probably...
Oh, damn!
Or things that you like. Or just even things that make you feel comfortable. I think that's the reason why I try to build my life so far, so fast sometimes. And I think also too that's the reason why people themselves don't... I have to turn this light off. That's what I'm going to do. There we go. Less cold. I mean, more cold. And I got to get this pillow behind my back because it's annoying to sit like this. And actually, it's not that bad, but... Building on the instance of self-comfort sometimes is building on an inference of self-comfort. That's what I have to build on, I think. Because a lot of times I realize and think that I'm starting a project and that project through my own self-stress and no, not deprecation. Though trying to self-improve, I find it hard to be able to go that extra step and make sure that in itself is
Suspect doing 50 miles per hour.
is something that I truly want. I know. This isn't based on any kind of thing that I'm feeling so far, I guess, and I think that's more the reasons why I think I had to stop doing my Facebook alerts, because my friends kept messing with me and acting like I was talking gibberish, and I think I deserve a little bit of privacy sometimes when I do this stuff. So. Because friends can be insensitive as well. I say it like that because I don't want to sound what's the word? I don't want to sound, what's the word? God dang it. Alright, I don't want to sound weak, I guess, sometimes. Even people who, it's like, I built a big part of myself on literally my own self-experience. And a big part of that I built on
Suspect last seen in, northern Pampa Valley.
I think a big part of me building on my self-confidence is I'm also afraid that my job or whatever I do will turn into that thing that I fear again. A constant struggle for what I really want to do with myself, and how I really want to do something with myself, and it has nothing to do with my personal life. It has everything to do with the fact that I don't want to constantly argue or to constantly have to prove my point when I've already proven it. I said I don't have to prove my point. Now, people would confuse that with I don't want to prove myself. I know that I need to prove myself constantly. And it's easier to prove yourself in an environment where you don't have to constantly bicker or argue or say that you're meaningful or that you want the job or that you want the thing that's there. But to constantly also realize that through the experience of yourself and how you experience anything, being able to create things and say that you created them shit. And to be able to point people to what you want and how you want and actually getting a response, it's something that I really would look forward to doing in the near future. I see the process before me, and I don't want to build something that I'm going to fear later on, and that's why I'm waiting. Because I see every business, and they can say that, oh, it's a natural choice of business, and it's like, no, it's not. It's really not. It's a natural choice of selection. Like if you want to select something in your life to be able to mimic something that you either hate and or love, or but it is also your choice to be able to make something that everybody could at least want to be around or want to see. To be able to see stuff that not only you like, but to be able to appreciate something that someone on the complete other end of the spectrum of liking stuff would like. And knowing also too that just because you like something doesn't change the way that you feel about anything.
What the fuck, dude?
It doesn't change your opinions, you change your opinions. Being responsible about that's what I mean when I say being responsible about forming opinions and consuming media, because you aren't changed by it. You aren't constantly changing your opinions on something. Because if you're constantly changing your opinions about something and you're constantly realizing, oh, that sounds good, that sounds great, that sounds really good, then you're not seeing the bigger picture. Is that good or bad people inherently, I guess? And I don't really mean this as like good or bad or saying good or bad, but people who inherently like different things. It's like, for instance, someone just wants to try out biting on their partner, or someone wants to try out piercing on their partner. They have to be responsible, and they don't want a spectacle out of it, or they do want a spectacle out of it, or they want to make money off of it. Know that there is a market for that. There's a market for pretty much everything. Also realize that you cannot like something all day if you want to, but it doesn't change the fact or change anyone else's opinion about anything. It doesn't change anyone else's opinion about you either, because you could still be an honorable stud, a completely amazing and wonderful person. You don't have to constantly change yourself in order to be able to experience new media or new things or new stuff. You don't have to watch something and have it completely erase who you are as a person in order to be able to make you experience something. That's adult and grown up and mature media, because experiencing something and becoming disturbed is the fact that you haven't lived. That's the definition of oh, you want to make people feel disturbed who are comfortable and make people who are comfortable feel disturbed. Then you want to erase the meaning of who people are, so you yourself, even though you haven't made anything, want to change the way that people perceive something, not by making them, but by making something that changes their perception about something that you made up because you thought that thing was good, or you thought that thing made something, or you didn't even understand whether or not those people understood something about that whole thing, or whether or not they were completely on board with it. Whether or not they're experiencing that thing or not. Because once a person becomes disturbed about something, they either do one of two things. They say, well, there's some reason for this, I have to delve into it, or they completely shut themselves off. You're either open or you're not open. And there are varying differentiations of each. Completely. There's like a rainbow spectrum of a whole bunch of different things, and not just the colors on the rainbow. There's every color is on the rainbow. Every color, colors you can't see, even negative colors. There are an infinite number of shades of each color. That's how introspective the color wheel is, basically. It's like these are the colors that you can see that basically align with each other. These are the colors that can be seen, but there are infrared colors that you don't know about. That's the same way with media. It's like there are so many different things that we shoot back and forth between what we believe in and how we believe about whatever we're believing in at that certain moment, and how we're trying to change someone else's mind about something. But also when you're arguing and realizing and turning your head and being like, oh my god, I can't believe he said that or she said that or something, realize that every single person who has ever experienced those things beforehand, ask an older person, because not an old person, okay, an older person, because an old person is going to die. An old person has lived their life and doesn't want to share anything with anyone, okay? An older person, because old is literally just older. Anyone who refers to themselves as old is going to die. They're going to wither away off this mortal coil, and they're going to fly somewhere to a different area because of their energies and how they believe in whatever they believe. Older is a person who wants to share their wisdom and not try to force it on anyone, because they've gone through that step of hey, these situations and things that I see aren't going to change me completely. They've realized and been disturbed and realized that being disturbed is just the essence of growing. But understanding that there comes a point to where you don't grow anymore because you've seen the same things over and over again, realize that there are certain colors on the spectrum of what you believe and see, and how those...
Dick.
Somebody just said dick. Or
Hey, let me pour that
there are
rock.
certain colors of media on the spectrum that you don't even understand yet, that older people don't even understand yet. And those spectrums of light and seeing and perception of any sort of believing or being, or existing, or whatever you want to call it, it's there for you. It was always there for you to take. It was always there for you to bend, to move, to be able to build and to make into there was never an instance where you couldn't there was never an instance from the moment you started existing to the moment you stop existing on this mortal, whatever the fuck they want to call it, because that's the reason they call it a coil, is because we're coiling around the sun, not exactly circling. We're coiling around the sun. We're not. It's like there's a trail of us, of our existence, I guess. I think what people really need to start understanding is that Breakdancing is a great way to go into China shops. No. I think the best way to be able to look at something, or to be able to look at yourself in the mirror, or whether you're doing something, or whether you're saying something, or whether you're being a certain person, or whether you're just experiencing a notion for a while. Because technically there's no such thing as fake. Because people can experience certain notions of anything and really just move on after they're done or bored. You can experience a notion of fulfillment, or a notion that of what you feel like you want to do, or a notion that can push you in a certain direction that and that notion can push you up to a certain point. That notion gets you to be able to think about something differently. And whether you want to continue or choose or go in that certain direction completely, or see that direction through, is completely and utterly up to you. And that's the responsible way to listen and to see and know media. And I grew up pretty fast sometimes. To know that that notion doesn't change the everything that you are, but also know that that notion itself is very interesting and introspective, to be able to see that notion in action, or that thing that you're experiencing, to believe and see how smart you are and how amazingly cunning you can be. And that's where the fear stops existing. That's where all the fear just melts away, and all whatever you're feeling, however you're feeling it, the way you're feeling it, it just melts away, and whatever thing you're experiencing stops. You stop experiencing it, and it starts experiencing you. Because that in itself is something. You perceive it to be something. You perceive it to be a something that is. But once you realize that the media itself is trying to perceive what you believe, and that's the reason why sometimes you watch it over and over again. The more you start to realize introspectively that media is sometimes handpicked for you, or it's handpicked for you to experience. And then when people start to say that, oh well, this part of the media I don't like, so I want to change it. It takes a lot to change a certain type of media that's been handpicked for you to watch. And it's not through some algorithm all the time. It's usually through a couple of people who are like, wow, we went through all these focus groups of people who came from different walks of life and different ways and different things, and that's the point too, is that kind of focus, that kind of media consumption or consumption is going to start seeing a decline. That kind of media consumption and everything like that, you're going to start seeing an absolute decline in that. You're going to start seeing an absolute decline in hive mentalities and people who believe in certain things just because they're from a certain area. And then people are going to believe, oh, well, that's the end of culture and stuff like that. No, it's the beginning of a new culture. The beginning of what we believe and how we think is going to be the way that we believe in each other, and start to be a little bit better. And the more people try to attack it, the closer people are going to be. The more that people try to attack it, the more people are gonna realize that they never should have started trying to attack each other in the first place, or the fact that people are just gonna realize that people are just gonna realize that you gotta treat your people a little bit better.
I've got eyes on the target.
In order to make more stuff, in order to do more things that involve more people. The reason why sometimes you don't work with someone is because you don't like the way they do things, or you don't like the way that they run things. And if you don't like the way that they run things, then you're still working for them. Then realize that you built your entire career off of what they could give you. And that's not a career. That's in itself, in certain ways. Or
Dispatch, I need a location for this guy.
that's in certain ways a handout.
Going west.
And no, if people need it, the reason why I think a lot of people got the same people as far as the same stuff is the agents and their commission. If people want to start making a witch hunt or something like that, as far as getting a certain job in a certain area with a certain acting career person, or the fact that there are the acting trade itself is so unbelievably scrutinized and what's the word, sectionalized. Like, there are no acting jobs some places. There are literally 0 acting jobs in some places. There are people who would wish that they could actually, like, work with someone that they would probably understand. And this is the reason why I don't want to meet my heroes, or I don't want to meet what I perceive my heroes to be. Because when my heroes tell me who they are, or what they are, they themselves are exhuming a character, like they exhume one on screen, or when they perceive on the radio, or when they see in another movie and try to act like, and then try to exhume those qualities. They themselves are just as much people as I am whenever I experience what I am. So knowing that, whatever business is around, whatever business is trying to exhume my stereotypical want to be able to consume their media, or be able to, what's the word? To be able to see with their eyes that are unclouded by hate. You'll start to realize that people themselves start things to start other things. They don't start things to stop things. They don't say time's up to be able to say it's time's up. They say time's up to be able to say, hey, look over here and buy this thing because this person wants to make a thing. Understandably so. Don't torture yourself for your art. But also, don't try to build on something that's you think someone else has created. Because all it's ever going to be while you're there or while you're around is that person. And that's what people decide they want to be every single day of their lives. They decide they want to build on something that someone else made. Everything that, if it really is time's up and you really want it to be time's up, Don't just protest and say you want change in every industry. Make the change you wish to see. Don't be the change you wish to see. Because if you are the change, then it's your face. Then the change is your face. And people will just pay attention to your face until they change, until they are tired of it, and then they go to someone else who has a different face because they see a different thing. Also know that you have to have friends. And real friends, not people who do things for you all the time. In order for that business to last, in order for those people to actually stick with you or to stay with you and to be able to make sure you want to be somewhere, you have to have friends. People who understand and realize your mission and what you want to accomplish and how you want to accomplish and actually support you in that. Not just people who are like, yeah, I'm the PR guy.
Oh, well, fuck it.
Or else it's just another PR that just loses everything. Don't just be the change. Make the change. And no, evolution gave us opposable thumbs. So, all that, you know? It's something we wanted. It's something we worked for because we thought it could be good. It'd be good. It could be good. We decided that we didn't want to live 14 years in a row instead, and we decided that we didn't want to live 14 years in a row, so we made a change. We decided that we didn't want to be on 4 legs and certain things, so we made a change. Every single time people make a change and don't understand the reasons why they make the change is because they made a certain part of themselves want the change a long time ago, but never be able to put it towards actual use because they were too, not young, but ignorant. Ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance is hell.
No, please, no.
Trust me.
You wise ass punk. Now give me that. Look out the way. Come on, move.
I'm actually glad that I can't remember anything before 4. I'm actually so glad that I can't remember anything before 4. Because it is such a hassle. It is an unbelievable hassle to be constantly trying to walk and never being able to. It is a hassle wanting to put everything in your mouth to be able to find out what kind of flavor it is, because you think that just because someone feeds you that everything has a flavor. I don't hate babies. I just know that if I remembered all that stuff, man, I would hate myself because of the stupid shit that I did. I find a lot of times that people don't understand their own fear, or what they believe their own fear to be. My biggest fear, I'm gonna share my biggest fear. My biggest fear is that I wind up completely alone again. Because that's all I remember. is being completely alone. Is that somehow there is some sort of any catastrophe that happens, and literally everyone is gone, and I'm the only one left. That's my biggest fear.
Look the fuck out.
And no one could possibly make that happen, because I'd always check the doors to make sure that people weren't in another room playing an elaborate joke on me. That's my biggest fear. That's my only fear, actually. So there's a lot of shit that I've been through. I love this song.
Oh shit.
But yeah, that's my only fear. To be completely alone. I'm always used to being around someone. Or around anything.
We have a visual. Moving to engage.
Officers report a reckless driver on San Andreas Avenue in Vespucci Canal.
I really do believe in other people, and that's the reason why also I want to make this a lot. I really wanted to make this, and I wanted to keep making this, and every single time I get a little bit of more research done about myself, and I get a little bit better at speaking sometimes too, because I know the reasons why I'm able to publicly speak and say things. I also know that
Man, I'm sorry, fool. This don't make no fucking sense.
I also know that there's a big difference between accepting your fear and just being okay with it. Or just acknowledging. Because accepting and acknowledging are completely different things, but they're close to each other, so that'll be a good thing if I start actually accepting it. I find out a lot of big things about myself sometimes when I talk. And I think that's the reason why I should actually I do actually build on the character that I already have. And I'm glad that I actually make these videos, because if I didn't, then then I'd probably be doing something else that's not constructive. And these are some pretty good self-help things for me, so kinda. I don't actually need them, but I could probably do them pretty easily, I guess. But yeah, building through your fear is awesome.
Oh, that hurt.
Building through my fears is probably the most constructive things that I ever do. Also, your perception of what people actually think, and what you're actually doing, or what they actually think, are big in differentiations. Yeah, always remember that. Your perception of what people think and their actual acknowledgement of what you're doing are so different. Remember that. Remember all that, because you can believe you're changing society while you're doing something, or how you're doing something. Or just because kids say they pay attention to media. Like I always said, I pay attention to media all the time. But a lot of times I'm staring at the screen, just looking at the colors. When I was younger, when I was like 10 years old, I was like, yeah, I love this. This is so cool. They have so many different kinds of colors on here. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking absolutely nothing. I was just saying something that I thought was cool. Because of the way that they dressed, or the way that they did things. But when in actuality, they were literally starting wars. The 90s was terrible. The X-Men were mean. They were bad. They were bad people. They were all bad. They were so bad. Like, they were like... Not only were they stereotypical... because... And yeah, I loved all that stuff when I was a kid. I loved it because I thought it was the coolest stuff. And, oh man, it just... There was so much stuff that was like completely and utterly just wrong. Like Calendar Man, who was, oh my gosh, or Wall Man, or a whole bunch of different types of people who were like terrible. They're like, yeah, they were serial killers. They made serial killers in a comic book for kids. And in a way, sometimes it actually made kids more not susceptible, but because I guess, oh man, it's like when you play into someone's game and into someone's bullshit, you wind up pulling their cues basically, or doing exactly what they want you to do. It's like when it's like, let's play a game sort of game. I'm gonna talk shit about you behind your back. It's like, oh man, it's just, Let's play a game. I'm gonna say to everyone that you've been doing drugs, and that's the reason why you have so much energy, not because you're naturally strong, or because your dad ran a 440 when he was 310 pounds. I'm gonna say that you're taking steroids, and then I'm gonna slip a little bit of steroids in your blood. And when you lose your temper, they're gonna be like, well, or I'm gonna slightly put something in your drink, and when you don't find out what it is, you're gonna feel really woozy later, and then nothing's gonna happen because I have blood cultures that get rid of those things sometimes because of the fact that my dad actually did take drugs sometimes, and I'm used to that naturally. I have a high tolerance to stuff. Like I have a high tolerance to alcohol and a whole bunch of different things like that. I even had I've smoked for 10 years and I'm already getting back my lung capacity. So think about it. And yeah, there's stupid people that do stupid things, and I'm not gonna say any names because they're dumb enough to be able to do stupid shit like that, to be able to think that I'm dumb enough to actually drink after them. So, I mean, oh man, it's just dumb. It's like you really don't want a person like that working for you because they'll go to any length whatsoever to be able to make a sale. And whatever length they go to is the amount of what everyone else sees you as you make that sale. Like, as you make that sale...
Or you will be shot down.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do some freaking knife fights now. It's gonna be cool. I don't want to be on fire. I don't want to be on fire. I don't want to be on fire. Come on, go on. Going down a country road. Country road. See, I've been through a lot. But also, too, I'm not gonna, I'm not stupid. I know they have lives to live. They can live their stupid lives. It's like, oh, why would he say stuff about me? It's like, oh, because you're a douchebag and you deserve to be called out your shit, but I don't have to say your name, so it doesn't matter. And also, too, man, I need some extra friends. I don't want new friends. I want extra friends because I already have a cool friend that I like, and he's cool. He's awesome. And I also have other friends, too, that are cool. And I like them. For the most part. Sometimes they can be douches and not care. But, they're not my family, so I don't hold that against them because they have their own problems. Shit! No! God damn it! So, I think that's what I have to deal with every single time I start one of these. Is I deal with the fear of trying to build on something to say, to be able to hold someone's interest for more than 5 seconds. And through that interest, I've been able to or through that kind of want to be able to build on something, to be able to make something of myself. And through that, You know, if it's, but it's like, that's the point, is I don't want it to be sameness. You know, I don't want my job, what I'm doing with my life, to be sameness. I don't want it all to be the same. I want something to vary, or something to have some sort of variable in it that I didn't see coming, or not to say that it's like a surprise that's good in a certain way, to be able to say that I did something that wasn't the same as I did it yesterday the whole time. That's it. That's all I want. It's just an invariable change of differentiational values that says that I'm not conforming to what a movie wants me to do. And not to say that any culture does that, or any one per person does that, but I think that's a lot of times what everyone wants. They just want something to change, and they want someone to initiate it other than themselves sometimes. And that's, I guess, the reason why I leave things, and the reason why I leave things and say goodbye, is because of things not changing, and things and people not growing. Because when they don't grow or they don't change, it irks me. It makes me, it's like you could be doing so much better with yourself. You could be being so much more positive than you're being right now. And the fact that I want something to change with you and you're not changing, is the fact that maybe we need to spend some time apart. Or maybe we needed to spend some time apart. Whether it be a friend, or whether it be someone that I care about, or anything like that. Realize that time alone is not time wasted. Or time that you don't build is sometimes time spent figuring out how to build something. Because your mind is amazing, and it can do so many amazing things. And I'm gonna go blow up all these cars.
Your car is the shit. So hot.
You.
Hey, let me pour that rock.
I had some olives, some feta salad. It was delicious. And I think that's the reason why I'm afraid. Maybe I'm afraid not only of being alone, but being stuck in a place where everything constantly stays the same. And that's probably more over the reasons why I'm afraid of being alone, is because I'm afraid of. I literally had a fear of everyone disappearing except me, and just me being in the dark constantly. And just a dark dimension of some sorts, and just living there forever, and never being a part of any activities or anything like that. Just staying alone and being no one, basically, or being not part of any. Oh man, it was really bad. It was really bad. That's basically what I lived through sometimes. That's my fear. It's my biggest fear. It's my only fear. It stems from, I have no idea. I literally thought that though. Like I lived it. It felt like I lived it, basically. Nice. Hour and 36. That's pretty cool. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I think most of the time I need to start looking at where I am in life, and start building on that, and start making sure that I can build what I want to build, how I want to build it, and no matter what my opinions are about whatever people are doing and how they're doing it in whatever way, because I've seen so many different activists say different things and have them fall through and have them say that they were doing something, and I've seen so many people who say that they are the hero of the day and literally fall short 2 hours before they're supposed to be going on. No matter what, people really need to understand that habitual anything use other than actual food and water is bad for you. And air and breathing. Food, water, and air. No smoke. Don't breathe in smoke, because what it does is over time it gives you an allergy to smoke. So if you ever get hit by like a tear gas canister, it'll hit you 12 times bigger, because the fatty tissue that basically breathes or takes in that oxygen is so close to the surface of your lung because of you smoking any sort of substance. That's what it is. It's basically the fatty tissue itself that takes in the oxygen and converts it to energy is so close to your actual the surface of your of the inside of your lung that you'll immediately succumb to say a fire smoke, and you'll immediately start coughing and hacking. You won't be able to do anything, because that's what happens to people who smoke on the regular. And they say that, oh, there's no such thing as cancer, but eventually those sensors and those things, through burning your tissue, they make scar tissue. Or they don't make scar tissue, but they literally burn off the sensors, the fatty tissue that takes in that stuff. that makes you be able to run fast and do different things. And I'm glad that I quit by the time I was 30, and I probably still have some scarring issues of some kind. But I had mucus, and that's what kept me going, basically. Like every single time, there was mucus in my lungs and different things like that that kept me from experiencing the worst parts of the smoke that I was inhaling. Realize it. Don't think that, oh, that's not fermented like tobacco. No, it's the same thing. You're burning something. Even incense makes you get the sniffles every once in a while. It's because there's carbon in it. Every time. Every single time. There's carbon in it. It's carbon dioxide. No matter what way you look at it, use a marijuana oil. Or don't use marijuana at all if you're allergic to it, because some people it gives panic attacks. Literally, some people it does. It really does. It literally it depends on who you are as a person. And I just don't get any one. And I think that means I'm growing as a person, I guess. So I'm gonna blow something up. I'm gonna blow some stuff up. Let's blow up all these cars. There we go. Shit, it's blowing up.
Report. FDB on Dorset Drive. Citizens report a 996 on Dorset Drive in Rockford Hill.
Oh, man.
So yeah, realize that there's like, I'm gonna steal all these people's money.
Suspect last seen on Dorset Drive in Rockford Hill.
Wait a minute!
Dispatch, suspect has entered a vehicle.
Roger that.
Alright, so realize that this is fake. So this in itself is fake. Okay, this by itself, this whole thing, all this is not real.
Units reporting a reckless driver on Dorset Drive.
Energy
Rockford Hill.
itself can be manipulated. Sometimes through thought, but mostly through interaction or physical contact. The manipulation of that energy in itself is electricity. As it's ran through a certain circuit, it can be manipulated into looking like anything we want it to.
Suspect westbound.
So remember, this is
white
fake.
performance car.
Remember. Remember it. It's fake. It's not real. It's just a bunch of, so like, say for instance, all this stuff is just
10-4.
all these things right here, all these video game things. The basic concept of this is just pixels moving in a certain area. The rendering of the graphics themselves is actually on top of what you would actually see or even believe this object would be. Like this object, even though it shows a shade or a shadow. Oh my god, I want this one more.
We are in pursuit of a suspect on foot.
Copy that, 10-4.
Even though there's a shadow on top of this object that I'm moving is on top of all the is underneath all the other graphics that are around it. because it's not rendering the graphics that are in front of the car or underneath the car. That's the way that video games work. Even though it's a 3D model or a 3D modular thing, the things you can't see aren't there. Remember that. No matter if you're moving forward or backward or anything like that, the 3D rendering model stops rendering graphics that are on the other side of an object that you can't actually see with the rendering thing. See, I move this around and I can see it, but it's not there if I don't do it. Which means that the RAM itself is not moving that particular thing if I keep the camera at this angle. At this angle right here, underneath the car, I can't see it. That means it doesn't exist. So, within giving that whole speech of context and the whole context of what's real, what's not, and how it's real and how it's not real and stuff like that, you have to realize that that stuff goes into whatever possibilities or things that we think about inside of our own mind. Experiencing what fear is and how we fear it, the way that we fear it, the way that we think something's going to happen, or the way that we think that someone is going to come along and just, oh my god, they're going to do whatever they want and they're going to do something bad. Oh my god, bad, 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 all the time, bad. But they're not. Whatever's not there is not there. The video game itself should not put you into a false sense of security to anything that's happening outside in the real world. And that's how video games don't cause people to be murderous idiots if they aren't already murderous idiots. And also realize just as in the proverb, one man's trash is another man's treasure, realize that one man's proverb is another man's murderous intent.
Report 505 on Great Ocean Highway,
And that's also another one of my kind of vague fears, because I don't really assume that people think that I'm a murderer, because I can distinctly remember a whole bunch of different aspects of something at once.
Reporting a reckless driver close to the Zancudo Causeway.
God dang it. I think the more that you put into a certain aspect of fantasy, or the aspect of even thinking about something, or the aspect of even how your thoughts go into a certain aspect of thinking about a certain way that something could actually happen, or a certain way that people could actually try to manipulate a certain thing, or a certain event to make it come out to be the way that they're the victor on top. And obviously everyone wants to be the victor, and everyone wants to be the one that comes out on top. Everyone, literally everyone, wants to be that person inside of the hero seat, and the person who sits on the throne of swords and be like, I'm the one that got all those people to murder each other. You can say it all you want to, but it doesn't mean that it happened the way that you say it happened. It means it's like on that video game, yeah. Because that's what happens in real life, is if you constantly think about, son of a bitch, alright, if you constantly think about Ugh. If you constantly think about what's going wrong in your life or how it's going wrong, you're always going to apply that to other things. You're always going to apply that to other people. Thank you for closing the door, Leslie.
Hey, you don't see me driving here?
And you say, I say you talk too much, don't I, Leslie? You're always going to be able to apply that to other people or other things. Once those things come around, I guess, as far as, once those fears come back around, and you're able to see through that bullshit, I guess. You're able to see through that actual fear, because I know that once I'm on my own, I'm gonna be alone in something, and I have to stop fearing that over actual aloneness. It's like there's always gonna be something that changes my life to be able to force me to be in a league of my own, or to be able to make me want to go against a tide, I guess, for at least a little while. To be able to see how long I can last this time. Taking that into consideration, all of that stuff into consideration, though, is the fact that keeps me constantly moving forward and wanting to learn. Or wanting to learn at all. So yeah, you are your own one-man metaphorical bomb squad. I know how stupid that sounds, and I still want to put it on a mug. With a more metaphorical and italics. That would be funny. In italics, or expressive, or like in all caps. That would be funny. That's hilarious, and I wish myself luck on whatever I do, or whatever I hope to do, with all this stuff. I just hate the feeling of having one person being able to control how much money I make. Just one person. Not to say that one person controls how much money I make in that business, in that thing, but that's the point, is me giving control up to that person on how much money I'm supposed to make, or how much money I really want to make. That means that it's like blending the lines between emotional and professional. That's what it means to me. Blending the lines between what people think is emotional attachment, and professional. And also, people are going to think that the things that I say on this, whatever I say this, on this, and the things that I leave off of this are different somehow, or the fact that also too, because of me sharing, there aren't going to be as many girls that want to be around me, and I think within that aspect of it, I'm okay with it, because if there are women that aren't secure in themselves enough to be able to take me talking about them or not talking about them or completely leaving it out or completely moving all the details in except their name. If they're not comfortable with me talking about them, basically, then I don't really need them. You know? Not to say that I don't want them, or that I don't like them, or that I wouldn't like them, or that I can't like them. They're not secure enough with me talking about personal life or personal things on this thing, then they don't need to be around me sometimes, because then they themselves are too insecure to be able to come to me when things are happening in their lives and they need my help. So then they'd be too insecure to be that person who's like, no, I want my boyfriend or the man that I want, not you, go away, sort of thing. And not to say that I stand for that or anything like that, or that I wouldn't stop that before it happens, or be like, or be that person that's secure enough to say, no, you can't talk to my girlfriend that way, or support her. But understandably so, that's not the only thing that I want to do. It's like, I don't want, like, sex is not the reward that I'm looking for when I defend my hypothetical woman. It's the fact that she supports me too, and would be like, no, I don't want that for my boyfriend, because I think that he wouldn't want that. I want her to say that about me. You know? So there's that. I want support both ways. I want to be like, hey, the reason why she doesn't like you is because you're an asshole and you need to go somewhere now. Or the reason why she doesn't like you is because you're trying to touch her butt and you're being an asshole. And I don't need to be big to show people that I'm a nice guy and I wouldn't like hurt them or put their wrist behind their back, even though I can, because I wouldn't do that. Yes. Come on, come on, come on. Son of a bitch. This is so bad. Because I'm not a security guard. I wasn't a security guard to fight people. I wasn't a person I'm not a person of interest in a crime case, because I don't fight people. I have confidence. I can, but I don't, because it's stupid. And also, I would want my girlfriend to realize that I don't, and to also not put me in any fucked up situations that is her that would be just her prerogative to do, because she wants to cream.
Hey, you just turned this into a book.
Unfortunately, it's not gonna happen for me. I don't find it fun whenever there's a woman out there that wants to what's the word? Yeah, it just doesn't sit well with me sometimes. Yeah, so there's that. Also too, I don't think that I think that my hobbies are not just my hobbies. It's the reason why they're called my hobbies is because I eventually want to share them with someone at some point. And I would love to share them with someone that is worthy, or that I think is worthy of it. And also, I have to realize this, and I had to realize this the hard way from my parents. Is just because you make children together doesn't mean you like each other afterwards. Because what attracts you to make children sometimes isn't always the thing that keeps you around, you know? I'm just like, it's like there's people who have good planning, and then there's people like my dad. And then there's people who are the everything you want. And and then there's people like my mom. My dad and my mom loved each other at some point, and that's cool for me. I think that's really awesome for me, I think. And the fact that they loved each other at all means something. And the fact that I know that they loved each other is probably the best thing that keeps me going. Or the best thing that keeps me not going, but it keeps me in safe knowledge of. And also know this, if you're in a situation to where you don't know whether or not your parents loved each other when they consummated you, or through that entire process, realize that they did. If they literally stuck each other inside of each other, then at one point they felt the biggest emotional release. That any two people have ever felt. Whether that feeling lasted is something that you need to elaborate on. Whether that feeling lasts, or whether that feeling lasts with someone and you, it will have nothing to do with whether or not you feel as though that... Okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I've been only playing games for 2 hours. I need to study. I need to paint. So I'm gonna blow something up. It's gonna be great. And Alright, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna wait. Okay, I'm gonna wait till 2 cars show up. There we go. Yeah!
Citizens reporting.
That was fun. Okay. And remember, you can defuse situations before they happen. You can make sure that you yourself don't have to live
Citizens report a 996 on
in a situation that you don't feel like living in. If you don't have enough time, get help. Always get help. If you don't have enough ways to be able to make a day for yourself, or to be able to make something for yourself, and your intentions are pure and honest,
Suspect vehicle is crashed.
acknowledged. Officers report a reckless driver.
and that has nothing to do with religion or how pure something is. But pure itself, it does not originate in any religion. Gentle or Gentile does not mean Christian or anything like that.
Southbound in a,
It's a word that Christian used in the English language. Or the Latin language that they used. Because all Christianity did was adopt a bunch of languages and then try to make new words off of existing words. It's what every single thing does that ever tries to start something new. But also realize that I'm not for or against any sort of thing. Except the fact that don't touch children, don't kill people, and try to live to an honor code, or else that code itself is what you will probably die by. Because the more you focus on something that's bad for you, the more you do it.
Roger.
The more you focus on something that's terrible for you, the more you eventually start to go back to it, or even go to it if you haven't gone to it already. If you are riding a bike, that is 0 bullets. I have 0 bullets in that gun. They kept shooting themselves and each other. That's funny. Alright, so I'm gonna do something else. It's gonna be tight. Then I'm gonna take a nap. And then I'm gonna do a whole bunch of stuff that I need to do because I need to research stuff. Because I need to research, and I'm gonna research, and I'm gonna do stuff for my business. Because it's gonna be good. It's gonna be tight. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be great. And I'm gonna wanna try to do stuff for myself. Or to be able to make a future for myself, not only in the store near you, but in my own store that I'll be able to make and be able to sell you stuff. And not just... because I don't want to come out with stuff on other people's stuff. That's just my personal choice. I don't want to come out with stuff... I don't want to go get an Etsy or a Patreon because I know that their product line or their commission will eventually, and their stock prices will affect me. And that's basically giving someone control over what you make and how you make it. And do you want that? Do you want to give someone control over what you make and how you make it? That's just my personal choice. I think that that's the reason why I don't really consider myself that much of a creator as far as YouTube goes, and more of just a streamer. And but realize that you are a positive ball of fire, and sometimes you need to realize that no matter what you do, no matter how you do it, realize that you're not going to be mature until you're about 25. You're not going to be able to make that decision and do those things and make those things until you're about 25, and until you reach past all that stuff that people say about each other constantly to try to keep some sort of excitement going. Once that excitement happens to end, realize that life still keeps going on, and if you can't muster the courage to be able to make sure that you have something by the end of that time, then realize that there's always still more time. There's still more time to be a better person. There's still more time to realize that you're wrong. And there's still more time to make sure you know that no matter what you say or how you say it, people are always going to have their other opinions. And they're always going to have those opinions because they have that right. Even if they themselves are wrong. And you can't change someone's mind just because of a certain thing that you do. But also realize that judging someone is the basis of which people don't really need to constantly do all the time. There is a time and a place for that, and that's called the court of law. If it ever comes to that, or if it ever will do. You know? And if there are any notions of you wanting to do something for yourself, or you being able to do something for yourself, realize that you're making something feel... You'll feel better about yourself if you come clean and realize that no matter how much money you're making, no matter how much money you're trying to make, no matter how many people you're trying to reach inside of their little bubble or audience or whichever kind of loophole you're trying to create because of something you're making and the things that you think you're getting to or the audience you think you're getting to, realize that you're selling to people who have no idea what you're trying to create sometimes. Realize that you're selling to people who have no absolute inkling of what you actually mean when you're trying to do something or trying to say something sometimes, because though that in itself is the art. It's not what you think it makes, it's what you thought of as you made it and how other people perceive it. That's art. That's what art is and how art really, really is. Realize that it's not the fact that someone's fucking name is on it. Oh, granted, those people who made those films or reach those artistic bounds make those bounds because of their name and because of the fact that they've done it so many times. But that in itself, that name means nothing without the support of the people behind it. Without the money being put forth behind someone. And if you want to be that person, if you really want to be the person that sees something through, or that sees something happen, or that makes something happen, then be that instance of not fury, not emotional distance, dystopian, but be that artistic flair. Be that thing that accents another person for a while, for as long as it takes. Because audiences will get to know you. Audiences will get to understand you. No matter what company you're with, no matter who you're with and what you do, people will get to know your brand. No matter how many instances they put down your product, it's the amount of times they pick up your product and say, hey, this is a good product. If this is a good product and it's got your face on it, then that's the reason and the instance of which people will start to appreciate art. And whenever they start to appreciate it is whenever they do, not whenever people say they do. And that's the reason sometimes why I think that people should stop doing certain things. And those are my opinions alone. And I'm not trying to start a movement. I'm not trying to start anything. I'm just saying that the way that people consume media sometimes alarms me. But that's just me. That's just the way that I consume media and consider my own, what's the word? My own reasonable sanity, I guess, to be. Other people may consider my inklings of what I believe certain media to be or how I perceive it is completely and utterly crazy, and that in itself is a perception. But I think that moreover, the perception of what you think is acceptable in life is different than art. Completely different. It may run the bounds of what you see in art. Oh, yeah, there's a dude. Oh, shit, you son of a bitch. Where's the goddamn... I want to put a parachute on him. Go on, stop. Stop, come on. Turn here. Turn here. Yes, 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 yes. I want to hit him. I want to hit him. There we go. Come on, turn, 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 turn. Ah, you son of a bitch. Alright, this is what I'm gonna do. But yeah. That basically is it in a nutshell. And realize that you're a rooster illusion. That your ego itself is an illusion, and that you make it up as you hear about it sometimes, because everyone else has one, you think, so you make one, thinking that everyone else has one. Once everyone else has one, you start to think that other people should have one if they don't, and because you feel so empowered by it, but if you force someone to make it, then you're actually making them do something they don't want to do. So, you know? Alright, do that. If you want to. I really don't care.